In my video on the 3 reasons why you should care about the name of God, go check it out if you haven't seen it by the way, we talked about how the translators of the English Bible have historically replaced the Hebrew name of God with the Lord. Let's dive into their chief reason for doing this and why it doesn't make a lick of sense. I'm going to pick on the translators of the Tree of Life translation. In their translation notes, they pretty much sum up the common understanding of modern translators regarding the name of God, and it's quite frankly extremely arrogant. Please don't misunderstand, this is not an attack on them specifically, they just happen to be the best example at my disposal of the modern day translators' beliefs on this. They say, our desire to honor traditional Jewish translation practices. God's most holy, unspeakable name is written and read from right to left, Yud-He, Vav-He. In Jewish sacred texts, it is common practice to abbreviate those Hebrew letters or use the word Lord as a suitable English language replacement in common published materials. See that? See that right there? That's my eyebrow going up. The key takeaway words in this sentence are common practice and suitable English language replacement. But they don't stop here. Not only is their desire to honor, quote, traditional Jewish translation practices, but they are very eager to honor, quote, traditional Christian practices. God's most holy, unspeakable name usually appears in Bibles as Lord, but is sometimes not recognized as especially reverence due to the mind's ability to disregard the use of small caps. Oh, is that the reason his name is not reverenced? Here I thought it was because you had removed the name of God from sight and mind of your readers. They go on, God's holy, unspeakable name will appear as Adonai, employing the Hebrew transliterated word for Lord and using small caps to acknowledge special reverence for him. Gee, thanks guys. If it hadn't been for your reverent censorship, I might have accidentally read what the scriptures actually said. Again, this is not a unique viewpoint among Bible translators. It's almost universal. And while these translators are especially concerned with honoring Christian and Jewish traditions, they have not mentioned once where in Scripture it refers to God's name as unspeakable, nor have they quoted the Scripture supporting their most pious reverence via altering what the Bible clearly says. The Bible does talk about times when names are not to be spoken, and as far as I can tell, it's never in the context of showing honor. Exodus chapter 23, verse 13. And in all that I have said to you, be circumspect and make no mention of the name of other gods, nor let it be heard from your mouth. Question. Why, if we are commanded to treat the name of pagan deities one way, do we then treat the name of our God in the same manner? Does this sound like Moses is issuing a special call for reverence of foreign gods, or does it sound more like a righteous slap in the face? Yahweh wanted the pagan false gods of the nations around Israel to be so irrelevant to their culture and their community that their names wouldn't even come up in conversation. The very sad reality is that most Christians can probably tell me the pagan deity's name that Elijah challenged on Mount Carmel, but very few can tell me the name of the one true God that Elijah called upon. In 2 Samuel chapter 14, there is a woman who approaches King David and essentially tells him a made-up story about how one of her sons killed the other. The woman begs King David to spare the remaining sons since, quote, they would extinguish my ember that is left and leave to my husband neither name or remnant on the earth. And David believes her and spares the remaining son. Why? Because a family name disappearing and ceasing to be spoken in ancient Israel was considered to be a horrible tragedy. Like, very bad. They didn't like it. And now a quote from the first and the last, the Messiah Yeshua himself. He who overcomes shall be clothed in white garments, and I will not blot out his name from the book of life, but I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels. Aren't you glad that Yeshua doesn't apply the so-called reverent censorship of the names of those who serve and obey him. Aren't you glad that Yeshua will speak aloud our names before his Father if we are faithful? Here's an idea, gang. Let's return the favor.